Hi again. I'm Daniel with the Audubon Center for Birds of Prey, and today we want to talk to you about banding. And what we mean by that is how we can identify our birds during the rehabilitation process. Every single patient that comes into our center, they get a number, and then after they spend their time in the clinic, when they go down to our rehab center, we give them one of these temporary bands. That helps us to identify which bird is which that we're looking at. They come in different shapes, sizes, and colors to help us identify little birds, small birds, big birds, to differentiate each one out from each other. That way when it's time for release, we know exactly which one to grab up to bring them back out into the wild. For our rehab patients, the colored band fits around the bird's leg. The bands we use are colored and numbered, and if needed, we can combine bands. For example, one bird may have a blue band on top of a yellow band. We do have permits for 2 different styles of bands by the USGS. Those 2 permits go to eagles. So after they're done with us, depending on the age of the eagle, they'll get a permanent band for their entire life. Doesn't disrupt the bird at all. It'd be like us wearing a bracelet. So the bands that we give for our birds that are eagles, when they're getting released back out into the wild, there's one that's a standard issue aluminum one that has a serial number on it. The goal of that band is if that eagle is ever found again out in the wild, we could compare it to when it was first banded, get a good idea of its longevity, how long it survived out in the wild, and if it was found in a different area, to understand its migration and how far it's traveled since it was banded. The aluminum bands eagles wear are lightweight, and we attach them using pins like in this video. Now we have a secondary permit here at the Audubon Center, and that is an auxiliary band for young eagles that are found nearby their nests. The goal of this banding project is to see if these baby eagles, when they hit sexual maturity after about 5 years, if they are going to make a nest, are they going to make it as a nest similar to theirs or for a natural one? To put this into a little bit clearer understanding, if you grew up in a city, usually you would think of a city as your home. We find eagles that are building nests on power lines and cell towers. We want to see is if those birds are going to, once they hit sexual maturity, build those nests in areas that they grew up in, or if they're going to build them in more naturalized areas. Recently we had an eagle admitted to our center, and we were able to tell from the band that the eagle had been rescued and cared for at our center before. Bird bands help in study cases like this. If you've ever been to our center before, you might have seen one of our resident bald eagles, Tallulah. She's actually a chick that had a USGS band on her when she was a little baby. She actually has a really cool and interesting story where once she was tagged with that band, she also had a telemetry backpack on her that didn't disrupt her flight, but it allowed researchers to collect about 3 years of data on where she was traveling to. During the first year, she actually, once she was flighted, traveled up to Virginia, then back down here to Florida. And then the following year, she traveled all the way up to Nova Scotia and came back down here. The whole reason she's with us now as a permanent resident is because she got into a territory fight and lost one of her wings during that fight. So she's no longer releasable, but we were able to collect so much data and so much information about her success when she was out in the wild. There are many banded bird species in the US. If you see a bird in the wild with a band, try to get a good look or a photo of the bird and the band. Then go to reportband.gov to enter the information about your band sighting.